Warriors!
Finally, yeah!
Victory is ours!
Whoa, Ricklock Brimstone!
Now, the journey continues with a silver adventure box.
I'm just kidding, guys. I'll get to the actual show.
We are Tyrians. We are many races, several professions. We practice the arts of combat as well as healing. We have foes, and we fight them without mercy. And it's time for us to claim back what is ours. It's time for us to claim back Tyria from the terror of the Elder Dragons. We can't go on living our lives in fear. We have to fight. We have to make a stand. This is our story.
Yeah, I know I made it all stretchy. I'm still trying to get how things work down because I keep tweaking all the sizes and trying to do all this different stuff. But anyway, welcome everyone to episode number 42 of the Chronicles of Tyria podcast, Guild Wars 2 podcast for fans by fans. As you can all clearly see, it's me yet again. I got no excuses for Casey this time. I have no idea. It's all her fault. She's not here. I don't know why. We'll blame it on her new house because I guess that's convenient. But yeah, it's me coming to you live from the Lag Cave here in beautiful New York. But I appreciate everybody who's showed up here in the chat. And I'm actually going to take attendance real quick for our guild, and then we will get on with today's show, which I realize I did not change the name of. So, I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing, so I'm going to call it Mystery. So let's go. I've got Kiana, Max, Joel. Just real quick, if you guys are part of our guild and you're watching live now, please speak up so that I can make sure I capture you here. Yep, Zenshu. There we go. Katie. Alright. Oh, Brahms. Yes, as more people start coming in, I will let you guys. If you comment, I'll get a hold of you. But actually, for the first time ever, I'm going to start off talking about last week's question of the week, because for the first time, really, ever, we got multiple answers, which I guess that really goes to show you what the allure of possibly giving people a gold will get them. So yeah, apparently if you give people prizes, they'll show up. So anyway, just to remind everybody, last week's question was your top five time-consuming video games, which are video games that when you sit down to play them, they literally consume your time, and you just have no idea where the time goes. You say you're going to play for an hour, 15 minutes, whatever, and next thing you know, it's 13 hours later, and you missed work and school, and it's just a mess. So, to remind those who didn't know, my top five, which were posted on the YouTube, the description box, are in order from, most least time consuming to most time consuming, and it goes Guild Wars 2, Dragon Age, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Pokemon, and the Legend of Zelda series. And I will go on to announce the winner, who will be receiving the 1 in-game gold. But Memory Burn was the winner, and I picked Memory Burn because I think that the games he picked were great, and he also went a step further and explained a little bit about each one of the games and kind of why he picked them. So I'm going to read them out to you. So number 1, and I can't agree more on this one, because it's definitely one that's ate up a lot of my time, especially trying to get 100% map completion in it. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And he says, all the nostalgia of a childhood classic with improvements at every turn. The most gorgeous graphics the series had seen, all new weapons, great story, and the hidden inverted castle was mind-blowing. My personal favorite of the series. Castlevania? Yeah, I gotta say you really can't beat Symphony of the Night. I'm a fan of some of the newer ones. Portrait of Ruin comes to mind, but definitely excellent choice. Next, Tetris. Need I say anything about this? If you haven't lost a few weeks of your life to Tetris, I don't even know what to say to you. Again, it's Tetris. Just mind-numbing, just over and over and over again. But the gameplay never seems to really get repetitive, even though it's literally the same thing. Next, he had Super Mario Bros. I will never forget that Saturday morning when I first beat Bowser's Castle in World 8-4. Promised to finally get my chubby plumber mitts on the princess, only to have her snatched away from me again, and then sent back to World 1-1 with all the baddies taken up a notch. I'm sure I've never been so overwhelmed by disbelief since. Much like Tetris, anybody who hasn't lost a measurable amount of time of their lives, this game has missed out. Again, I remember growing up always trying to decide, before I figured out where all the secrets were, World 1-3 was just a pain for me. Let's see. Wipeout Pure. Let's not forget about the fact that this little disc helped a clever hacker fan base bring internet browsing to the PSP before Sony ever did, making it a staple for any early PSP adopter/enthusiast. The game itself was a perfect handheld port of the Wipeout series. This Wipeout port brought gorgeous visual styles to the PSP's vibrant screen and a tight soundtrack pounding through the handheld's surprising stereo speakers. And now you had a reason to not play it. Oh, and now you had no reason not to play it at every possible moment. Last on his list is World of Warcraft. I can't even remember my /played, thankfully, but 4 years of playing WoW racked up a sadly impressive amount of time. I don't think there's anything I can say about WoW that nobody knows, so I'm not going to even talk about the game as much as the time that I spent. WoW, however, surely Guild Wars 2 is on pace to strip that of its spot on the list. I did want to point out a couple of the other, some of the other ones that were actually kind of common between a couple of the different responses, but we had a lot of stuff for the Tales series, like Tales of Symphonia, things like that. Another Tales of Symphonia, probably my favorite in all of the Tales series. Great game. Never really got into the sequel. Tried it. I don't know. Part of it was I played it with friends the first time around, and I just never got around to beating the sequel to it. I think I still have it over there with my pile of games. Super Mario Brothers, Legend of Zelda, common ones. Guild Wars again. Got Diablo 2. That's another one I spent a lot of time in college. Call of Duty, again, always a good time consumer. The Elder Scrolls series. Baldur's Gate 2. Lots of good games. So I appreciate everybody's coming out and more than one person or no person actually responding. So I think I might keep this getting a shout out. So shout out for Memory Burn and also the 1 gold prize, because it's not that big of a deal. So that's gonna stick. So the winner of the question of the week gets 1 gold and a shout out on the show. Next up, I have. It's kind of funny because this was where I normally talk about like the fan mail kind of stuff, and I think this was from a bot or spam, but it was complimentary, so I'm gonna read it anyway. It's from someone named Alan, and it says, comment. Real nice and fun show. Are you guys planning any new ones soon? I'm thinking it's a bot because we do a new show every week. So, I don't know. But he said really nice and fun show. So, thank you, bot named Alan, who, or maybe not, and you don't know that we put out a new show every week. And if you don't, every Thursday at 9 p.m., I'm here live. Sometimes I'm even joined by other people. Most times recently, not so much. But, there you have it. And I got one other in-game mail, which I'm looking up right now. I just snapped a screenshot of it. Let's see. So I would have it here. Here we go. Hey lagywn, just wanted to thank you for doing the podcast. I just stumbled upon it and I've really been enjoying it. I was wondering about whether it would be possible for me to join chroniclesoftyria. Blah 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 blah. Thanks again for the podcast. Keep it up. So, yeah, thank you again for your support and the praise. We definitely like that. And by we, I mean me, because, I'm seeing a lot of comments here in our chat for those of you listening on iTunes, which I'm sorry for those of you who do listen on iTunes. I will be uploading, not that you'll be able to hear this to think about it, but it doesn't matter. I'll be uploading all of the solo shows that I've done recently to iTunes probably this weekend, because I'm sorry, I just learned the process and the way we go about doing that the other day. So, anyway, on to the shout-outs for this week. Memory burn from before. So I'd like to shout out to Elmer and Brahms, two of our members who kind of spearheaded this new event that's just, I believe, premiered today and is going to be a permanent staple, I assume, to the rest of our kind of Chronicles of Tyria events that we keep doing every week. So I will be getting to I'm being a little mysterious there because I'm going to be talking about it later on in the show. So keep an ear out for that. But for that, we actually have quite a bit of news, whether or not you realize that. It's been a little tricky, kind of sneaky news coming out of nowhere. So let me go on and talk about what other stuff I found. Did my camera freeze and No, okay, there we go. So Leaderboards. New thing. Pretty cool that they finally introduced Leaderboards. So, there's not much to talk about. It's Leaderboards. But what's cool is they introduced them for both PvP, World versus World, and I'm going to say PvE, but they introduced one for the achievement points that you get for doing any of the achievements. So, there's like I said, there's PvP, and here's what, the breakdown of the different metrics: ranks, wins, losses, win percentage, World versus World, rank, rating, deviation, volatility. And then the achievements is based on the achievement points. I think that you can go on, and I think you can view the top 100, or maybe even all of them. I think a search function is something that needs to be implemented, because I would like to be able to search myself to see where I fall. But definitely pretty cool. There is a website right here, leaderboards.guildwars2.com, where you can go ahead and view these. Player versus player, world versus world, and here's the top 5 in all of them. And you can go here and, but there's no search function to let you type in your name, which I feel is something people would like to see. And, you see the full leaderboard list, and you can see, and even you can filter it by the world. So we can filter it by Tarnished Coast and see where people are on this list and who falls where. And I don't see anybody that I know off the top of my head, but go through and see. I don't even know where I would be. Hey, I think I saw somebody in our guild. But anyway, I'm going to get distracted with this. So, Definitely a cool feature. I think that's something else that could have and should have been brought about since launch, because ArenaNet did mention that they wanted to try to have this kind of be a legitimate esport, and it's kind of hard to have an esport when you don't have any kind of rankings and leaderboards, and you don't have an observer mode for people to comment on and things like that. So I mean, this is a step in the right direction, but a little bit late, if you ask me. That's my opinion. You're entitled to think whatever you like. Next is, most of you, I'm sure, probably didn't even realize this, but boom! Flame & Frost Retribution. The final conclusion to the Flame & Frost series. Information just released earlier today from ArenaNet. So, not only did we get the Super Adventure Box on April 1st, we're still going to get the conclusion to the Flame & Frost series of events on April 30th. So, as you can see, we have this pretty sweet looking image. Couple of 3 char here, and I will read you the little piece they have here. In secret foundries deep beneath the Shiver Peaks, the Molten Alliance forges deadly new weaponry that combine the fiery power of the Flame Legion with the iron might of the Dredge. There, Alliance weaponsmiths test their creations on innocent captives, perfecting their cruel technology until it's ready to unleash on all of Tyria. In the last chapter of the Flame & Frost series, you'll strike at the heart of the Molten Alliance with your comrades Rox the Char and the Norn Bram. Take the battle into the enemy's weapon facilities and defeat a final hybrid menace unlike any Tyria has ever seen. Dun dun dun. But yeah, this is, I mean, I'm very excited for this. They make it sound really epic, whether or not it'll kind of be like anticlimactic, as kind of the Flame & Frost, some of the raising stuff was. I'm hoping we will get more instances like we had in Flame & Frost the Raising, and, you know, maybe cool rewards, like actual, like, weapon skins or something neat like that. I'm pretty sure there will be something else that's coming out, which I will get to next in this. But again, I want to point out, just kudos to ArenaNet for the crazy amount of work that they're doing. They've been releasing Flame & Frost content, albeit, like we said, it's kind of been lacking the very first 2 pieces, but like the 26th of March, they released the Raising. April 1st, the Super Adventure Box, and April 30th is going to be this piece? I mean, come on. That's a lot of work. I don't know. It just seems like they're really kind of busting their asses to get us this content, and it's free. So, kudos to them, and awesome for us as the players. Next, kind of what I was just talking about. I don't know if you've seen it. It's kind of been floating around Reddit and Twitter and a few other places. But the new dyes that are going to be coming out, the Flame dyes and the Frost dyes, this I just happen to be on Guild Wars 2 Guru because they happen to have an armory, like a gallery of it. But essentially, if you were to take any of these codes here and throw them in the chat, you'll get to see all of the new dyes. And they're rare dyes. This is the symbol, but like, I'll click on this preview, and there's different armors. There's Flame armor and Frost armor. This is the Charred. See, you see the new icon for the dye because it's like a special rare dye. This is Charred dye right here. This kind of blackish brown. I'll go through like a full set of them, and then we'll call it a. Here's Cinder's armor, or Cinder's dye rather. Deep Glacial dye. Deep Glacial teal. Flame. Flare. Glacial sky. Glacial teal, molten, pyre, shiver sea, shiver sky, and then that's all the colors, and then this preview has it on light, medium, and heavy armor, so you can see all the difference in the colors and things like that. Again, this is Guild Wars 2 Guru, so check it out. Pretty cool stuff, to say the least. So, also, I think on my screen everything looks a little smushed. She looks a lot fatter on my screen, Miss Norn, than she does on my actual screen. But that's besides the point. On to the next piece, which took me by surprise, because I was not aware of this. But if you're a fan of the first 2 Guild Wars novels, bam! Sea of Sorrows cover art revealed. And along with that, we have a little bit of information aside from that. Oh, and Max, to make your comment here in the chat, after the podcast I'll get me some dies. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I don't believe those dies are in the game yet. I believe there's going to be Flame and Frost die packs, presumably in the gem store, where those will be a chance to get those as rare dies. But I could be wrong, but that's just my take on it. Oh, okay. Well, if you meant dies in general, then never mind. So there's actually a little snippet of, I'm assuming this is going to be the back cover of the novel, so I will read that to you guys. The lost kingdom of Or lies beneath the ocean waves, an entire civilization swallowed by an ancient cataclysm. For centuries, the depths have lain dormant, those ancient secrets lost, until now. The elder dragon Zaitan has risen. In its wake, the drowned kingdom of Or is reborn, and another destroyed. The city of Lion's Arts, for generation a cornerstone of civilization in D.R.E.A., is brutally swept beneath the waves, leaving nothing but ruins. Among the survivors is, I'm going to go with Cobia, because that's what it looks like. Cobia Mariner, a human sailor shipwrecked by the tsunami and stranded at sea. When he is rescued by a ferocious Char, Cobia knows that he's been plunged into a world forever changed. Now Zaitan's undead servants dominate the sea, destroying port after port and slaughtering anything in their path. In the midst of ruin, Cobia vows to see Lion's Arch rebuilt. Amid the storm of the dragons rising, Cobia must become a hero to his crew and an admiral to the pirate fleet and face the ghosts of his past. Only then will he master the Sea of Sorrows and crush the armada of Or. So, it's about time, honestly. This book has been coming out for forever. It was supposed to come out like January of 2012, and I believe we're probably looking at June of 2013, so June of this year, sometime around that, or we'll say summer of this year. We should see this book released. It'll be nice to have the final novel. I also don't like that it's currently the final novel. I feel like we could probably have more Guild Wars 2 novels, even if they were just about like useless characters that don't really pertain to the actual story. Like this guy, Cobia Mariner. Yes, Kiata, you're absolutely right. It should have been out before the game. That was the plan originally, where they were supposed to all release before game launch, so that we could have them fill the gap between Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2, which obviously this deals with the destruction of Lion's Arch and the rebuilding of Lion's Arch. So, yeah, I agree with you. So that didn't happen, and here we are now with the Sea of Sorrows coming in a little bit late. But better late than never. I'd love to see, just like I said, erroneous novels written about, some random Guild Wars 2 character who doesn't, play into the grand scheme of the Guild Wars storyline in any way. It's just like a fun kind of story, and if it's not, yes, I'd love for it to be written by someone like Rhys Osby or Jeff Grubb, but even if it's written by somebody else that works for ArenaNet, that would be great. So, definitely cool, a little bit late, but as we've seen, they've been pretty busy on all the stuff that's been going on. So, we'll move on to the next piece. This is, I feel it's kind of been a long time coming on this as well. So, further splitting of PvE and PvP skills. kind of something that we saw at one. It took a little while, but when it happened in Guild Wars 1, it was a pretty big deal, but made a lot of sense. The reason they tweak a lot of skills in Guild Wars 1 and now in Guild Wars 2 is because the skill is good, but it's some of the skills are really good in PvE and really good in PvP, but they want to balance the PvP side, and then they kind of screw the PvE players. So I'll read this quote here from Jonathan Sharp. So you guys know, we already split some skills, which they have done. And what's more pertinent to the current thread, we plan to do this even more. When we first shipped, it was awesome to have a lot of the balance be the same between PvE, World v World, and PvP. But as you guys have really started to push the game types to their limits, classes and specs that work in one area of the game are sometimes ineffectual in others. Due to this, we'll have to do more splitting of skills to better balance the various areas of the game. Too long didn't read. We already do this. Hey, we'll be using it even more in order to balance the different areas of the game effectively. And just so you know, this was in the It's Time to Balance PvP Apart from PvE World v World thread on the official forums. And I would like to, Katie did, I believe, it's Kier in our guild, so I'm going to go with Katie did, because that's a cool bug. That reminds me of my childhood. But she says a book of short stories about some characters would be cool. And I agree. I think that would be a good idea if they were to release another novel, or even like you said, just a collection of short stories about random characters. I would go for that as well. That would be, I think, a really good seller, especially if they did. Even if they did stuff about Guild Wars 1 characters, like I would read a collection of short stories written by Nicholas the Traveler, as him and Professor Yakington travel across Tyria. I think that would be great. A little more news for you, those of you who have friends that haven't played Guild Wars 2 yet, or you try to get them to play, but you don't want to share your account because things like that. Another free trial weekend giveaway. So ArenaNet is partnering with several gaming sites to give away a massive amount of free trial keys for those of you who have not checked out Guild Wars 2. They'll be giving away the keys April 15th, which is Monday, this coming Monday, for the following weekend, that's April 19th to the 21st. So this is from Guild Wars 2 Guru, but here's some of the links yet. How to get away, ZAM, Tenton Hammer, MMORPG, and Curse are giving these away. So check this out if you'd like to try to get somebody else in, or at least give Guild Wars a weekend trial. I think I'm waiting, and I think it's kind of foolish on ArenaNet's part to not have like a free trial weekend as like just a standard thing, because I mean, yes, buying the game isn't that big of a deal because it's free and after the fact, but I feel like you could get a lot more people in and wanting to play the game if you had an opportunity where you could show people and not have to like show someone like look over my shoulder while I play the game, something like that. But I digress. Let's see. Okay. I'm sure most of you have seen this, but I'll just get to this last piece right here somewhere. Yes. New weird kind of shirt vesty things on in the gem store. So they're each 200 gems each under the style tab, and you can kind of see, here's a little image of what they all look like. Different vests and casual shirts and things like that. I feel like this should have been some of the standard town clothes for some of the classes out there, but I don't know. I feel like this is kind of, some of these are looking like, if you play the human storyline, Lord Farron kind of clothes that he wears. I feel like this is his kind of deal. But anyway, let's go back to me, and I'm back. So that's pretty much all of the news that I've got for this week, other than the brand new Chronicles of Tyria roleplay event, which is Dreaming the Dream. And let me see if I can pull up some of the information on it here. But from what I saw from our guild little chat log today, it started today, and I'd love to hear some of you guys that were actually part of it chime in, because I wasn't able to attend because it happened in the afternoon today. But like I mentioned before, this is kind of spearheaded by Elmer and Brahms, two members of our guild, in an attempt to make to add additional events to our kind of event roster, but as well to add non-char related RP, because as some of you may or may not know, every Friday at about 2 p.m. I believe, we have like a char warband RP event that goes on. Even though you don't have to be a char necessarily to come along with the group. That's a heads up, but this is a little bit different. So, let's see. Let me throw this up here. So, if you head to cotforums.com, right here, you go to our guild events, guild missions. This is where you can see a lot of the stuff going on here. Here's the winners of our monthly drawings for participation. If you're part of our guild, this more pertains to you. This is meetings that we have with the guild. Stuff for the bounties. This is to see the participation. This is instructions, the calendar, our event calendar, and then here, started by Elmer, is Dreaming the Dream, an RP activity. So from what I hear from people who attend, everybody had a really great time. But I'm not going to read this whole thing because Elmer is very in-depth, and there's a lot of stuff here. But as you can see, there's quite a bit of dialogue here, so let's see. And we just mentioned this recently at our most recent guild meeting. So if you'd like to see more information and to participate, you can come check out this on our forums. And again, just so you know, you don't have to be a member of Chronicles of Tyria necessarily to come along and do any of these activities. Outside people joining is always fun. Obviously, for some things like our guild missions, it doesn't really make sense for you to, you can come along. It's more beneficial to you if you're part of our guild, because then you actually get the personal rewards and things like that. But for like our RP events, and we're going to have some more stuff coming on in the future, you don't have to be a part of the guild to join. So, oh, and that's right. Let me check this out. I think it's in the public guild forums. Joel and I just mentioned it here in the chat, but I'll come over here. Right. Our own Joel and R as kind of a suggestion from other people, and in an attempt to kind of expand our Chronicles of Tyria podcast content outside of me just talking by myself. And this is basically Joel and R is potentially going to be doing a drawing with Joel about teaching you how to draw on the internet and things like that, but also drawing Guild Wars 2 related things. So, if you scroll through, you can see, like, here's some of her art here. I'm drawing of Cloggins because it's Joel. And as those of you may know from the previous show, my background for the podcast was drawn by her as well. So she's got a poll up right now of whether or not you would like to see it live streamed or pre-recorded. Either one will really work for this, but it's up to you guys whether you want to have her be able to banter back and forth with you. So this is on our public forum, so you don't need to be fully accepted into the guild. You can still be in your probationary period when you join the guild to be able to see all this. So come check it out, voice your opinion, let her know, so we can have her doing her own thing. There's a third option? Oh, that's right, there is a third option if you want to be mean. None of them, I don't want to see you draw. So you can choose that if you want to be mean and submit your vote like me and then change the skew everything. Anyway. But back to my content. Honestly, guys, I'll be 100% honest with you. Outside of this, I didn't really have time to prepare a full podcast for today. I got stuck in where I had to go into Manhattan today for work, so it was rough. And I didn't really have, and I was in meetings all day, so I had all this new stuff kind of picked out already. But I did want to pose it to you guys, and also to kind of anybody that's listening after the fact. We've been thinking about expanding some of our content here on the podcast, like you saw with Joel's possibly, doing a drawing thing, a Guild Wars 2 drawing thing. Let's see, I think I have some notes on other things we talked about possibly doing. Let's see, what else do we have? I may be doing some more kind of stuff on my own in like small. I want to get back into the lore stuff since that's what kind of our core is. So I'm going to plan to try to do more lore related things going forward. But I think I may do kind of small pre-recorded like short shows, and I wanted to get every opinion, but something like lore in a minute or like 2-minute lore or something like that, where I just did a little pre-recorded video of me talking about some snippet of Guild Wars lore, and in just like a minute, or maybe not a minute because that's kind of short, but like 2 minutes, and just I don't know how often I do it, at least probably once a week, and just like here's your little snippet of lore, maybe something you didn't know, and then that's it, just to get more content out there for you guys and get more lore stuff kind of brought into it. Again, I mentioned it, I think I mentioned it last time, but I am working more on getting this Chronicles of Tyria merchandise up and running, so if that's something you're interested in, keep an eye out on the Chronicles of Tyria website and CFT forums. Let's see. What else do I have? Professor Laggington's Mystery Lore Minute. Yeah, I might do that. I may release outside of this just kind of my thoughts on my fake human god that I created that a lot of people know about, Thomas Engine. And I may just do a little video snippet about that. I've reached out to some guest hosts to see if we can't get some other people on the show with me, even though I'm not sure how to do that. But I just kind of want to give you guys an idea of that. There was a couple other things I wanted to mention before I kind of wrap this up. So, after this event, I believe, if I can get enough people, we just unlocked in Chronicles of Tyria guild rushes, so we may try that right after this show. See what we can do. And Robovan just showed up. But yeah, I would like, if you guys are part of Chronicles of Tyria, if you're watching live and you're not, and you guessed to Tarnished Coast, or you're on Tarnished Coast, come out and why don't you attempt our first guild rush with us? So I think that would be fun. We've tried it out with a couple of other guilds that were running them, and they seem like a really good time. So come out and join us for that. We'll probably be leaving out of Lion's Arch or nearby as soon as the show wraps up. I need to do a question of the week as well. I had so many different questions of the weeks that I just forgot all of them. So now I'm going to come up with one on the spot for you guys right now. Remember, the winner of next week's question of the week gets 1 gold as well as a shout out on the show. I will be accepting answers. I decided to tweak it at hosts@chroniclesoftyria.com. I will also be accepting answers in the comments below in the YouTube video, which will be uploaded probably either later tonight or tomorrow. Let's come out and do that. And what did I want to do as the question of the week? Alright, well, how about this? we know that... Nope. Nope, that's not a good one. Let me ask the people here in the chat. You guys have any ideas for a good question of the week for everyone this week? Sorry, everyone, as I just check out the chat here. Well, last week I did about your top 5 time-consuming video games, and it's kind of Guild Wars related, typically, but I broke away from that last week, and actually that's something else I wanted to see. I mean, we got more answers and more responses, but I feel like I said that's because I offered a gold as a prize. But these questions of the week, I mean, I'd like to try to keep them the majority of the time as Guild Wars related, but do you guys mind when I change it up and throw in just like a general gaming question out there? Or maybe something about, I don't know, other kind of video gamer culture type stuff? But I'm so sorry, everyone, because I just totally spaced. Let's see. What did I have in mind? Actually, you know what? This could be a fun thing. As we were talking about time-consuming video games, this is going to be outside of the question of the week. But because we talked about some of us said that Guild Wars 2 is extremely consuming of our time, I'll be accepting via hosts at chroniclesoftyria.com only, because it's going to be a picture. If you take and type /age and take a screenshot of it and send it to me by 11:59 p.m. next Tuesday, the person with the highest number of hours played in Guild Wars 2 will receive 1 gold. That is going to be, that's aside from the question of the week, but check that out. So whoever sends me a screenshot of their character and with type /age, whoever has the most amount of time in game proving that Guild Wars 2 is one of your most time-consuming games, I will send you 1 gold and a mini-fet. How about that? And for my question of the week, and RoboVin mentioned it here in the chat, and I also was thinking about this myself, we know the April 30th content is going to be the final piece of Flame and Frost Retribution, and the Super Adventure Box will end. What do you think the next piece of content they're going to give us is? I guess that'll be the May content, and the best, most creative answer, and also most realistic, content you think we're going to get, will win the question of the week, and it'll be announced next week on the show, get a shout out, and get an in-game gold. So, for questions of the week response, hosts at chroniclesoftyria.com, or comment below in the YouTube channel. For the most amount of hours played, I'll be accepting screenshots of your character, with /age typed at hosts at chroniclesoftyria.com. So, why don't you guys go ahead and do that, and I don't believe that I have much else that I want to talk about. Again, please go check out our forums. If you're not a member, please sign up. That also is like a precursor to get you access to the guild. There's a thread there that you can fill out for joining. Need to be referred by friends or family, that kind of a thing. And my good buddy here, RoboVin, in the chat says he'll add in a gold himself. If we get twice the amount of responses that I received last week for the question of the week, it'll go up to 2 gold for the best answer to the question of the week. So check that out. That's 2 gold if enough people respond that we get twice the amount of responses, which I'm not going to tell you how many we got. We'll just have to see how it is. So please go vote on our forums to let Joel know how you would like to see her drawing with Joel thing, and give her feedback to let her know if you're interested in that. And like I said, I may be doing my own little small piece of lore videos coming out, so we have some lore more on the on the podcast here, and I post one last question to our fans at large. Would you be interested in myself and possibly a few others, maybe hosts that you previously have met, maybe hosts that you've never met, um, in doing a I've been toying around with the idea of doing not necessarily a general gaming podcast, because I know some other podcasts like Tales of Tyria are going towards that entirely. But I was thinking of possibly doing on my own, outside of Chronicles of Tyria, a I'm gonna call it gamer culture, nerdy culture. I don't, label it whatever you want. Show where we talk about each week. We talk about, we'll talk about video games, talk about movies, comic books, cartoons, anything like that. RPG, like pen and paper stuff. Just random stuff that has to do with gaming. I need to come up with a name, and this is obviously very rudimentary. But would that be something that people would be interested in? Obviously, since it was my idea, I'll be on the show. But other people from all other aspects that do different things, maybe have them on the show as well. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. Type it out in the comments. Send me an email. Something like that. So that I can know. So, yeah. Let me know. And yeah. So, without any more stuff to talk about, I'll start rambling here. I would like to bring this podcast to a close. So, thank you again for all of you who came out and supported us. We are up to 236, 238 subscribers on YouTube. When we hit 300, we'll do something special and fun. I mean, I did that blooper video for 200. When we hit 300, we're going to do another one. Not necessarily a blooper video. Maybe a music video. People have been asking for that for a while. Maybe weird machinima stuff. Who knows? 238 subscribers, 23,000 views. I'm working on getting our iTunes stuff up on my end so I can check out if we've received any reviews for that. So, go check that stuff out, guys. There's actually another spammer on our YouTube page that said, like, I love your show and it's so great, I'd like to help you get more viewers, but it's not specific at all to what we do, so it's just like a general thing that gets mailed out. So I didn't feel the need to read that spammer's nice comments that they sent for us. So, yes, I know, music video, we've promised that a lot, but we will, maybe 300 subscribers. Make it happen, people. I don't care if you make up fake YouTube's accounts and just subscribe to us. That works too. So, I'm just looking for one thing, and then I will end this podcast. I am sorry. Just trying to find my newly developed outro music that we found last week. The Super Adventure Box stuff. I don't know where it is. Yeah, here we go. Alright, everyone. So thank you for viewing. For Chronicles of Tyria podcast, episode number 42, the Mystery Me Ramble About Nothing show. I am lagywn, live from the Lag Cave, and I will see you next time.